everyone, it's Natasha. In today's video, I'm going to review the Excellence in Literature Handbook for Writers from Everyday Education. I did receive this as part of the Homeschool Review Crew in exchange for my review. So this is what it says, a handbook for writers. It's basically broken up into two sections. The first section gives you examples and walks you through how to construct different kinds of writing assignments, essays, and things like that. The second section is all about actual mechanics of your writing. Here's how this can be used in your homeschool. You can kind of use it, multiple different ways. For one thing, you as the parent can use it to evaluate your students' work. I find this very, very helpful because sometimes as a parent, we are overwhelmed with teaching our kids writing and we're overwhelmed with grading. And so this handbook kind of walks you through how an essay should, it does walk you through how an essay and different writing projects, it covers a lot of writing projects, which you'll see in a minute. It walks you through how these should be formatted and what they should include. It is extremely, extremely thorough. So you can use this as your, as the homeschool parent, or you can let your student use it. And when they're constructing their writing assignments, they can utilize this handbook. I say that this handbook is appropriate for high school and college. Yes, college. As I have been going through this handbook, I have seen many things that would have been useful to my daughter when she took her college English classes. By the time we got this handbook, she was already done with all of her college English classes. So she is done with college English. However, I felt like had she had this when she was in her college English classes, she would have utilized it, because I can see some of the writing assignments that she did do in her college English class are included in this handbook, plus like a ton more. There's tons of things included in this handbook, which you're going to see, because I'm going to turn the camera around and I'm going to show you. I did get the PDF version. Here's another tip I have for this. I find this really helpful. Okay, if you didn't know this, if you pull up a PDF on your computer, you can use, I have a Mac, so you can use Command F, and that's for find, and you can type in something and it will highlight it and go right to it. So let's say you need information on hyphens. You can do Command F hyphen and find hyphens, like find the sections on hyphens. So I find that really handy. Now, if you have a computer that's not a Mac, you do Control F. But the reason why that's so handy is because this is like 420 pages, so it is massive. So even using the table of contents is massive. And so trying to find what you need can maybe be a little difficult if you're not just going straight through the book. Okay, so utilize that tip. But also, I think you could actually use this handbook for writing if you are kind of so inclined as a writing course. You could take your high schoolers through this writing course and they can learn how to write each of these types of essays and writing assignments using this handbook. That would take, of course, work on the parent to assign these things and kind of guide their student, but I think it's totally doable. So I think those are like the three main ways that a parent could use this. Now, how we have used it is mainly as a reference tool, and mainly for not my senior, because she's done with all her English, but for my freshman in high school. She is in a class that covers literature, history, and debate and speech, and she has to write essays every single week. So this has been super helpful because I would say she most utilizes the mechanics portion of this handbook, because that's what's relevant to her right now. And honestly, this handbook covers more than you'll probably ever need, but it's so comprehensive that, like I said, hands down, no questions asked, this handbook will take you into college. So, I mean, it's a wonderful item to get for both you and your student. I would say maybe around 8th grade. So they have it going into high school and college. And with a PDF version, you can obviously just keep it forever. So if you ever need to reference it, it is, easily available and doesn't take up physical space. So that kind of gives you a background on it. I would say it truly is the most comprehensive writing handbook I have ever come across. It is so thorough, but it's also really easy to understand, which is important because you don't want a writing handbook that's just going to confuse you more. Have you ever seen one of those? I have. So it's not like that. It's not going to confuse you more. It's really going to walk you through. I also appreciated that it didn't take anything for granted. So in other words, it didn't assume that you would know how to do really anything. So it even talks about, abbreviations with Mr. and Mrs., for example. And you would think, well, of course everybody knows how to do that, but it doesn't assume you do. So it covers everything you can think of. So let's turn this around and show you what it is so you can see if this would be a great fit for your family. So this is the Excellence in Literature, Reading and Writing Through the Classics Handbook for Writers by Ian Johnston and Janice Campbell from Everyday Education. And so let me show you the table of contents. So first we have part 1, which is Introductions to Essays and Arguments. And first it talks about some simple first principles in arguments, and then setting up the argument, defining key terms, deduction and induction, and organizing the main body of an argument, and paragraph structure, paragraph functions, writing arguments about literary works, and then sample outlines for essays and research papers, critical approaches to Shakespeare, some criteria for making literary evaluations, introduction to usage and style, phrases, clauses, sentences. See, everything it covers, breaks everything down from comma placement to a comma splice to conjunctive adverb, slang, wishy-washy words, being concise, the proper use of synonyms, plurals, everything you can think of, capitalization, brand names, articles, special problems, fractions and decimals, months of the year, using brackets, pronouns, parallelism or parallel structure, modifiers, gerunds and infinitives, clarity, logic, and structure, references and bibliographies. Stop here and say that this information on APA and MLA formatting is super helpful for college. My daughter, who finished college English, really would have appreciated this. I really wish we had this like a year ago. Okay, so then we get into things like spacing, page numbers, titles, capitalization, all of that. Listing URLs, email, poetry online, work of art. I mean, this is so incredibly helpful. And then basic format for essays and research papers, even down to sizing of illustrations, keyhole essay graphic, and then we get into the content. So that was like 24 pages or something of the table of contents. So you see why I said that command find function or control or command F function or control F function is extremely helpful to find what you want, because there is so much here and it is so comprehensive that really is a time-saving tool, in my opinion. Okay, so I'm just going to guide you a little bit through this so you can see we've got the introduction to the handbook, and then we have part 1, section 1, introduction to essays and arguments. Now, when my daughter took her college English classes, this was basically what she did. She had to write argumentative essays, and this is really the type of thing that they learned in her college English class. So absolutely, beyond a shadow of a doubt, this will take students into college. No question about that. Talking about thesis and everything. So this would be super helpful. So at this time, we're not really using this first section because it's just not where we're at right now with my other daughter. But that second section is extremely, extremely helpful. And I know that in time, my 9th grader will get more into that first section. But for now, she's just in the section with the mechanics, and that's what's really necessary right now. She's just writing, basic essays right now and not getting into a lot of this argumentative essays and rhetoric stuff quite yet. I can definitely see this being used for the next 8 years easily. So definitely a worthwhile investment. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. And if you have any questions, definitely let me know. Don't forget to check out the Homeschool Review Crew blog post where you can see or read lots of other reviews about this handbook to see different experiences with different homeschoolers and their students. Also, make sure to go check out the handbook on the Everyday Education website. I will link that below too. And don't forget to subscribe and like this video if you love all things homeschool. Thanks so much for watching and have a blessed day.